All right. We are back. Welcome to another episode. You guys probably thought we quit. I get it. I get it. But welcome to another episode of Red Hill Racing Podcast. I'm Ben Knight. We have stand-in co-host tonight, Mr. Sean Henson of Proven Power Cycles with us. You know, our man, Mr. 47X, he's working his ass off. He's filling orders, packing boxes. So he said, y'all boys have at it. So we got Sean here, and his partner at Proven Power Cycles, Eric. He might even join us here in a little bit. But yeah, we're gonna give y'all a podcast. And we might have more coming down the pipeline as well. So um for those of y'all that don't know Sean, and if you don't know Sean, I don't know, maybe you're new to racing, is the way I would describe that. But
I
Mr.
don't know
Henson
about
is
all that.
he's been around since even before my time, but took a hiatus. But from a long family history of racing, pedigree, Barry Henson, Pro Street, Turbo Kits, all that hoopla. So Sean's been in the game his entire life. He's got a great wealth of knowledge, and now him and Eric have their um, motorsports dealership down in Tampa area, and they're doing a
Yep.
insane amount of turbo bikes out the shop now, and a whole host of things. So we'll get into that, but just giving y'all a little bit more background on my buddy Sean, and glad
Yep.
to have him on. How you doing, Sean?
Yeah. Doing good, man. I'm happy to be here. We've really, started to ramp up our media, coming, down here at the shop. And, I'm just super excited to collab with you guys and, see what we can do to kind of grow this and help bring some people to the sport. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. That's one thing me and Sean were talking about earlier. If y'all haven't, make sure you go on YouTube, subscribe to Proven Power Cycles. Um, you got 10,000 subscribers, and man, let me tell y'all what, these are some badass, cool videos that his partner Eric and them are putting together. Um, Really, it all comes down to what me and Sean were talking about this afternoon, and they got this new dealership and oh gosh, basically performance shop up and running in like lickety split. Would y'all just bust ass over a month period essentially is what it was and got everything rolling, right?
I mean, I'm going to be honest with you.
It was quick.
Me and two buddies. We just this building kind of fell in our lap. We looked at each other in the eye and we said, "Hey, we don't really have all the answers, to the questions yet, but we know that this is what we're going to do." So, and we've just literally had our heads down digging as hard as we could dig up to this point. And it just so far it's been all green lights for us. And we're excited for what the future holds, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And I know Eric's had the Proven Power Cycles channel for a while and
Yeah.
been
Yep.
chronicling his dyno and builds and whatnot, and y'all have been collabing on stuff. But one thing that was really cool that me and Sean were talking about earlier is, they, as he said, they're really, going full blast on the media and the videos and all the content. And it's really
Right.
cool because they're kind of bringing everybody through them just starting up this performance shop dealership, whatever it's going
Yeah.
to morph into. And man, they came out to the first XDA race in April. And gosh, how many real street bikes did y'all have? Four?
Four real street
Yeah,
bikes. So
four real street bikes. I mean, three
yeah,
super stock bikes. They didn't even bring the grudge bike, but they're
no,
coming out swinging. And the cool thing is, like I said, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel because they're bringing y'all along for the ride. And there's some great videos. I enjoy watching them myself.
yeah, we enjoy showing people, the learning process. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
I by no means have all the answers, but what I am willing to do is I'm willing to figure it out. So I'll go out there and test and practice and I'll try this and I'll try that. And honestly, that's all it takes. It just takes laps and laps and laps and practice. So we enjoy shooting we shoot all the good, we shoot all the bad,
Yeah.
we show them everything in between. And it's not always sunshine and rainbows, but we have had some really good progress, here as of late, and we feel really good about it. And honestly, we're in love with this real street class. We really feel like this real street category can turn into something great. And we want to we want to do some more of it. We've got four or five of them down here just in Florida, that go into Bradenton, two, three times a month. So we're gonna be able to go down and match race and, kind of just race each other until we're all going 740s and, kicking each other's butt.
Heck yeah.
we really do have a superpower, in that alone,
Yeah, yeah, it's really cool to see. So make sure you guys sub up to that and follow along with them. Like I
Yep.
said, it's just really cool, going through everything that they're working on building, and a lot of street racing in Mexico and roll racing and
Yep. A
stuff
whole
down
lot of
that
roll
way.
race
So,
stuff.
I
Yep.
know
A lot of roll
Sean,
race stuff.
Sean and me were talking about earlier, trying to convert some of the Mexico racers into some drag racers. So that'll be a
Yep.
good thing, for the sport and for everybody involved as well. So,
Yeah, I mean, if you go and you look at the all these roll racers, man, these roll racers all race these really similar motorcycles. They're all kind of naturally aspirated, super lightweight. I don't understand why, we need to come up with a funnel to get those guys into super stock. You
yeah,
know what I mean? We need to figure out how to get those guys into super stock, because man, we got to get these guys off the streets, man. We are just losing too many of these kids, man. I'm telling you.
yeah,
I
yeah,
I live right in the heart of it, so I get to see it more than anybody. But I mean, it's two, three people a week down here.
right.
You know,
Yeah, no, I'm with you 100%. Like there's, personally, I've never really been intrigued by it. And especially when I see just video after video after video of, you know, I don't even know I don't want to, well, I'm gonna use the word squids that are not only are they street racing, but they're
right?
doing it in like shorts and hell, I've seen videos of people no
Yeah, and
shirts.
they think that just removing pieces of their body work is going to make their bike faster.
Yeah,
They're severely uneducated. You know,
100%, 100%.
every single roll racer that's ever come to an XDA event or it's ever come to an actual race, right? They just kind of get this vision and they realize that what they've been doing is in an uneducated pool. Like literally
Right.
everybody that they're around them is an idiot. And then they step up and they go, wow, this is what fast motorcycles look like, And then they go back to their little world of roll racing. And it's like, oh my goodness, you know, it, there's not even a comparison in the two,
Yeah.
So a drag racer, a good drag racer at any point in time could build a little roll race bike and absolutely mop the floor with them boys. It's
That's kind
just,
of how I felt. I've been in a couple groups on Facebook and stuff, and it's almost comical. But anyways, just want to touch on that because I know end goal for Sean and his crew is to try and get these guys converted to a safer atmosphere with the proper
no doubt.
gear, and ultimately that grows our sport and it's better for
Yes.
everybody. So. Anyways, shout out real quick to our awesome sponsors of Red Hill Racing Podcast. We've got, of course, the University of Wynn. We got BMF Motorsports, Max ECU and Steve Nichols, Montgomery Motorsports.
The man.
We got MPS Racing, for our buddy Dustin, and Hard Times Parts and Service, of course, as well. We got the Shock Wizard and Penske Racing Shocks, DME Racing, Schnitz Racing, Brock's Performance, MTC Engineering, BST Wheels, Mitch Brown and his Monster Race products. Um, my favorite buddy who doesn't race anymore, but Ralphie at Platinum General Services, and last but
I need his
certainly,
parking spot.
yeah, I know, yeah, Ralphie, we're taking your parking spots, buddy.
Yeah, Ralphie.
I mean, I pretty much work for you, so we're gonna get that done. And then last but not least, Mr. Dave Conforti and Worldwide Bearings. So shout out to them. Those sponsors, they supported us last year and we're carrying them on this year for, our every once in a random wild podcast. But I think we're gonna get it back going fairly regularly now. So y'all be on the lookout. But Sean and I, we're gonna jump into some XDA results from this past weekend. Unfortunately, I was
With
not able to attend. I was helping my brother out with a different kind of race, a foot race. So I missed out, but I kept up as much as I could, went through the results, and of course, Sean was there living it, racing it, and was in the thick and thin of it. So we're going to run down through the results and go through all the winners and all of the classes and just give a rundown. And I'll kick it off. I'll kick it off with, of course, Pro Street, and no surprise, the GOAT reigns supreme again.
Yep.
Um, Mr. Rodney Williford, he qualified number one. I think what they had two shots. You guys got two shots, right?
Yes, correct. Yep. 2 rounds of qualifying. due to the rain. It rained
Yep.
Friday, Friday evening pretty hard, and that pushed us to Saturday. And then Saturday, obviously they had to get all the bulls done. So yeah,
Yeah.
they only allowed us two pro qualifying sessions.
Yeah, so short in qualifying, Rodney took the top spot with a 6:41 at 2:34. And then in the final was our buddy Mr. Jason Dunnigan, Team DME Racing, Dunnigan Racing, and
Oh, 004 red, dude.
man, Jason was ready.
Man,
He was
he
ready.
was, dude.
And I mean they were there performance wise. Jason went a 6:41. Rodney did lay down a 6:38, but you know,
235. Jason went 235.
yeah, he was rocking, man. He was
And
ready.
man, it was
Just
hot, man. It was not cold out.
hey, anything green would have made it a hell of a race. Rodney
Yeah.
was a little slow with the
Yeah,
91 light.
091.
So but hey, when you're on top, you're on top. And I know Jason and that whole team and Mark Rendeluke, they're all gunning for Rodney, and we're
No
gonna
doubt.
see someone else beside Mr. Rodney. We love you, Rodney,
Yeah.
but hey, we
Jason
gotta
was killing it all day, man.
yeah, yeah. Those guys, it's really cool to watch them go back and forth on Facebook and in a professional, friendly way.
Yeah.
They love racing each other. I never see any griping, whining, no crying here. They know what they got to do, and they're out there to do it. So I'm sure we'll see
No
Jason.
doubt.
Yeah, we'll see him in the winner's circle soon. Let's see. I don't really know any of these people, but we'll shout out the Team Skittles ATV. Looks like Blake Chavis took the win over. Oh Lord, I'm gonna totally butcher his name. I'm gonna go with Joshan Alamada from Puerto Rico. That sounds pretty close, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Joshua.
Yeah, Joshan
Yeah.
Alamada. All right, we'll go with that. Hey, these things are badass though. They're basically like
Dude, he
Banshee
went he went
motors.
467 at 145. This guy Blake Chavis.
Yeah. If you guys haven't been out to an XDA, one, I don't know what you're doing with your life, but two, the ATVs are pretty cool. I mean, they're
Why are
just
there not more of these?
I don't know, man, but they're full blown like all billet Banshee style
Yeah,
motors in these just
that
chassis,
is
and the
sick.
chassis I can't speak. They must weigh like 25 pounds.
Yeah, I mean nothing. And why don't they have turbo booster motors in them?
I don't know. That would be sketchy. Those things are already sketchy. But yeah, they haul
Yeah,
ass.
but they only go to the eighth.
Yeah, but you see them things, they're like
Yeah, 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 yeah.
they're
But man,
scary.
could you imagine that thing leaving on
Yeah.
like 20 pounds? That'd be sick.
It would. It would. What about the Max ECU Pro Extreme? We were just talking about this before we hit record.
Yes.
Little side note,
Yes.
me and Sean we were scheming
Yeah, we were.
prior to about 3 weeks ago when PDRA canned
Yes, we were.
the Pro Extreme, or what was it called? Was it called Pro Extreme Motorcycle?
I
What was
don't
it
know.
even
What did they
called?
call it over there?
I don't know. PDRA no longer has the bike, so
Yeah, we
um
were. Yeah, that sucks, man, because we were literally just talking about that. I've got
but
a I've got a bad boy power plant, man. And all I need is a chassis.
yeah, yeah, I talked to some Growthis boys at the first race, and we had some good conversation. Unfortunately, PDRA is not having the bikes anymore. But on a good note, this has got to be the largest pro extreme field for XDA ever. They had
There's no doubt.
19 bikes trying to qualify to get in.
Yeah,
So they had a full 16 bike field. Um, Kind of getting down to the semis. We had Braden Davis taking the win over Tommy Saxon, and then Brunson Grothis over Rob Garcia, which set up the Brunson Grothis and Braden Davis final. Nitrous
yeah,
versus Turbo, and Brunson got the best of him. He was 032 for 398 at 181, but Braden, that kid is killer on the tree, of course. 021 had a slight
yeah,
advantage and just didn't have the horsepower down track, ran a 402, but that's all right. We'll have more on Braden here in a little bit. So shout out to
yeah,
Growthis Drag Bikes, Brunson, Ed, Bradley, the whole team. It's a real team effort for Growthis, and it's fun to see all them at the track. Glad to have them out
yeah.
at XDA.
And Terry Schweigert qualified number one. He went 396.
Yeah, yeah.
So I actually watched that pass in person. It was a good lick, and also it was really cool to see Paul Gass back out there. That was cool.
Oh, dang, I missed that. Yeah, Paul
Yep,
was there.
yep.
405.
Paul was
Man,
out there.
what a
Yep.
legend. Going
Hmm.
405 at 70 some years of age.
Yep, no
That's
doubt, man. He
badass.
really cool. Really cool to see Paul out there.
Yeah. What we got up next? Why don't
Let's
you
do
do Real Street?
Yeah, let's do Real Street.
Go over Real Street for us.
So, all right, let's see. The motorbikes were ripping. Um, so number one qualifier was Chris Moore. He went 743 at 181 on a freaking
That's
motorbike.
that's so
That's
fast. 180
insane,
something.
dude. 181 miles an hour on a motorbike. That is insane.
That's cooking.
I got a little turbo boost I just built, and that's what it went in the quarter. Like, I mean, it's a street bike, but still, it's like Jesus.
Yeah, it's
All
cooking.
right, and then right behind that we got Poppy Fondon. Right behind him, 744, and then right behind that Caleb Holt. So it's tight field. It looks like the bump spot was a 795, so a complete 7 second field in Real Street. That was pretty cool.
Wow.
Um, and then yeah, it came down to pretty much all HTP, more Mafia final. Yeah,
Yep.
David Fondon and Chris Moore sent a rod packing it like the 330. So
Yeah.
yeah,
They are they're
they
pushing these
exited,
thousands.
no doubt.
They're
So
pushing these thousands. There's some mean machines, but hey, when you're on the ragged edge, that happens. But that was the second race for Chris on that HTP built
yeah,
thousand, and man, he qualified number one and runnered up.
yeah,
Sending the rod to the horsepower
yeah,
gods. So not a
yeah, no
bad
doubt.
outing for
Let's
old
see.
Long John
Well, and
Silver.
they were pretty much, they were 033, 041, on the light. So, I don't know, it did look like the pass before Chris went a 48,
Yeah.
so I
Hmm.
don't know. It's hard to say what would have happened in that pass, but it looks like Poppy, probably would have had him regardless. But
Yeah. Yeah.
um, either way, great racing. Those guys killed it all day, man.
Yeah, 24
I mean,
bikes tried to attempted to qualify for the main event in Real Street. Hey, the class is healthy.
yeah, I mean,
I
dude,
know
and
there's a lot of stuff
Poppy
going
just
on.
murdering the tree, dude. I mean, literally round one, let's see, 038, round two, 031. Then the semis, he was 025, and in the finals, 030. I mean, he just
Yeah,
killed it all day.
yeah, he's a shooter for sure.
Ain't no doubt.
He's gonna go. I
Ain't no
wanna
doubt.
I wanna shout out our boy AM, old Annibal. Man, he went a 747 in the second round, and I know that's got to be his personal best. I'm almost positive on
Dude,
that.
yeah, no doubt.
So shout
No
out to
doubt.
AM. He's been running that nitrous 14 for years. I got a big
Yep.
fat L from him when I had my Pro Charger bike out. Went a 753 for the loss.
Yeah, right.
So shout out to AM and of course him and Caleb Holt. Caleb, has been killing it, man, running 740s on that nitrous 1000. Really cool to see them rocking out with that platform. Him and AM have been running that bike for years as
Dude,
well.
he's killing it, man. He rides the crap out of that bike. Now, let me tell you what. When I tell you that guy goes 140 miles an hour down the return road, that is what I mean. Okay. He comes flying by me on that bike at 140 miles an hour, and it scares the crap out of me every time.
Hey, that's Mr. I am. He's got
He's
places
like,
to
gotta
go.
go. He's gotta go. He's got four bikes to ride. He's got to get back. I get it. But it's like, dude, I mean, it's like, oh my goodness, dude,
Yeah,
every time.
for sure.
Um,
It's cool. It's cool to see the class growing. I know there was a lot of banter back and forth last year with the addition of, Gen 2s, but I think the
you can't argue a
attendance,
bike count.
yeah, the attendance, the bike count, I agree with Sean. You can't argue with it. So yeah, it was a great class, and then
Hmm.
we had enough
My
for a,
boy,
a eight bike B field. That's awesome.
my boy won Real Street B.
Yep, yep.
So my boy Teddy Bub won Real Street B. Win his personal best of 803 at 184. So I'm pretty happy about that. We still got less than 10 passes on that bike. So
Dude, that's
we're
so awesome. I mean, this is one of the bikes that Sean and Eric and them have put
yep.
together out of their shop, and Teddy, jumping on it and riding it, and I
Yeah, oh
know
yeah,
it might
killed it,
not
man.
seem fast comparatively, but as Sean said, with 10 passes on the bike running 8 O's at 180, they're chipping away at it. So
Well,
looking forward to
and to be
seeing it.
fair, with a tuner that's learning, okay, I'm learning. I'm not a, I'm not a Cecil Towner. I'm not a, Andy Sawyer or Steve Nichols. I'm not one of those guys. I'm learning. So I'm progressing with the bikes. That's really why my grudge bike is kind of taking a seat right now. I'm going to progress with these real street bikes, and then once I really feel like I've got that under control, then we're going to bring the grudge bike out. But so the tuner's learning just as well as the bike is progressing and getting faster. So it's working out good. And plus Teddy is a
He's
is a
pretty
smart guy as
green.
well. Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
well,
man.
he's pretty
He's,
green as far as the racing goes, right?
there ain't no doubt about it, man.
Yeah.
So together, it's, we're gonna have a good little team. I feel really good about it.
Yeah, and you know what? That's a good learning moment for everybody. You don't have to come out with new stuff and new builds and just really try and throw the kitchen sink at it. I mean,
No.
it's honestly better, especially if you're taking on stuff and learning stuff, take it at your own pace, and
Hmm.
that's really cool. I was hanging out with Sean and the guys during the first race and just seeing them, happily making passes and just getting down the track and just creeping up on it.
Yeah.
It's really cool. Really
Well,
cool.
dude, if you understood that we put this stuff together ourselves in the shop by ourselves, I mean, don't get me wrong, I had a lot of good help from Frank at Splice and some really good people. Okay,
Yeah.
but we built this stuff ourselves in the shop, and then we showed up and they went down the track and shifted all the gears. I mean, I clicked those buttons on that laptop myself. You know what I mean? I didn't have nobody help me. You know what I
That's
mean? I mean,
awesome,
don't get me
man.
wrong. I have help, with when I need help, but it's like I tune that bike on the dyno myself. It's like, dude, just to show up and these bikes be going down the track is success.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
know
at
what I
the
mean?
first race, you guys had all these brand new bikes and literally were dynoing them the night before you even left at like
Correct.
midnight. So, yeah,
Right.
mad props, mad props.
Yeah, and again, we want to support the class too. Yeah, we're not ready. Yes, is the smart thing for us to stay home and go to our local track and practice until we're going 740s and then show up? Well, yeah, that's the smart thing for us to do. But, we want to support the sport. We want to support drag racing. We want to grow our YouTube channel. So the best thing for us is to go to these races where we can get a nice, really good track. Man, we go to Test and Tune down here, and the tracks just don't have great support or great, prep or
Prep,
anything like
yeah.
that. So it's like, dude, we just look at it as, hey, we're going to go test for 3 days on a nice prep surface with all our buddies. And hey, guess what? If we need some help with something, the best minds in the business are around to help us.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
we just look at it as positive all the way around.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. No, it's awesome. It's awesome. Good stuff. Um,
All right,
moving
what we
on,
got next?
we got
Faux 60?
yeah, we got one stop speed 460. This has been a huge class over the years, had 38 people qualifying, and let's see, how many did they take? I don't even know. I'm not counting that up.
Let's see.
But yeah, they had another big field down there. Harvey Hubbard, shout out to my boy Harvey. He qualified number one, 460 with a
Yep.
two.
They took
Um,
32 of them. 32
32.
out of
Okay.
38. Yep.
Yeah. Heck yeah. Um, so yeah, Harvey qualified number one. You had Mike Ostrowski, second qualifying, Lowry Callahan, third, the GOAT of 460, Ronnie Procopio was fourth, and round out top five was Tim Shelton. Um, Working our way down to the semifinals, we had Ronnie Procopio and the Rain Man himself, Sean Rainey. These guys are killer, y'all. That 008, 002 on the reaction time. They went. Ronnie went a 461 and Sean Rainey went a 462. I mean, this is as cutthroat as it gets. I'm telling you, this class is
Bro,
insane.
but look at Ronald Procopio in the final. Look at
Well,
that package.
yeah, not only that, but staying with the semis, you go to the next semis. You got
I know,
Mike
I see it,
Tian
but dude,
005 and then Mike Ostrowski 018. I mean, they don't play. But yeah,
yeah,
moving
no,
on to
I
the
know they don't
finals.
play, dude. They don't play 013 460 with a nine.
Yeah, I mean, just hellacious
And in the
racing.
final, that's what I'm saying. In the final, that is
Oh yeah,
big,
and
big.
Mike Tian, he knew he had to push it. He's racing Ronnie
Yep.
Procopio, so he turned it a little red,
Yeah.
012 red. And still, he went a 4:59 with a seven,
59
so
was a seven.
he was ready. He was
He
right
was
there.
closer than Ron was.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So that's an awesome class. Always
Very
enjoy,
cool.
helping out my buddies when I can, Mr. Boo Brown, Mac, and Jimmy Shiflett, all them guys. So,
Yeah.
and you never know. I might get back on one soon enough. We'll see.
Yeah, it seems like a turbo bike would be the package for that. Because man, you could probably turn it down a little bit and go those numbers
Oh
and
yeah.
probably, be, really healthy and probably motor probably lasts a long time,
Oh yeah. Yeah. It wouldn't take a lot to do that with a forced induction for sure.
Yep. All right,
All
so we
right.
got super stock.
Yeah, that's all you, brother.
I got it. So somebody other than Jeremy Teasley won.
And he was an OG.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So Chip Ellis got the win there. Um, I didn't really see it was a slower super stock field this week.
You think that was because of the heat and all, or what?
Yeah, I mean the weather wasn't great. I think that, and also I think a lot of the fast guys had a lot of other stuff going on too.
Yeah.
Um, Jeremy included. I think, it was a because we didn't get a lot of passes in general because of the rain. A lot of these guys run multiple classes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially the fast guys. A lot of the fast guys in that class run multiple classes. So I think the super stop bikes in general kind of got the back seat this week, just because we were just so limited on time. So super stop bikes, man, you don't really pull them off the trailer and run your best pass. You more have to make two or three on them to kind of get warmed up to it before you're really going to start going the numbers. But yeah, I mean it was pretty much an 890 field. It looks like all weekend.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I pulled mine off the trailer and it has a bent valve or something. It was making all kinds of noise, so
Oh shit.
I put it back up. Yeah. So done with
Fair
that for a
enough.
little while. Fair enough. But yeah, let's see. We had in the final, which I'm going to tell you right now. Let me just say one thing. The hardest thing in motorcycle drag racing, period, is riding two different hand clutch bikes in heads up competition. Okay. All right. With that being said, Caleb Holt, okay, rides a super stock bike and rides a nitrous hand clutch short wheelbase GSXR 1000.
Yeah, for
All
sure.
right. I'm going to tell you right now, that is the hardest thing to do in drag racing right there. I don't know how he does it. I decided I had to park one. I couldn't do both. So I decided to go hand clutch real street racing, but to do both and to be in the final, you know, I mean, is unbelievable.
Yeah.
He gave it to him at the tree. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I mean, dude, unbelievable. I'm just gonna say
Yeah.
that.
No, I'm with
Unbelievable.
you for sure. I mean, Caleb's an amazing rider. I don't even
No
know. I
doubt.
don't think he gets enough credit, but he's a hell of a rider for sure. But yeah,
Yep.
old Tater Chip coming out of
Tater chip.
retirement, running real street and super stock. Second
Yep.
race out, got the big super stock win over Caleb. Yeah, so yeah, that's awesome to see Chip Ellis out here running with us. Pretty cool. I didn't even get a chance to talk to him at the first race, so I'm gonna run
Yep.
him down at Rockingham.
He's a busy dude, man. Busy dude.
For sure. Definitely got to give a shout out to my buddy Brian Johnson, who returned to competition after his health battles. We hate that I missed seeing my man there, but it was
Yeah, I
just
talked to
special
him
to
for a
see
minute.
him. Yeah, it's cool to see him back out, man. That's awesome.
Yep. I talked to him for a minute. He was yeah, he did good. I think he won. Yeah, he won first round.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah. He
he
lost to
he was
Tater
out there.
Chip in the second round.
Yeah. Yeah, he
Um,
was out there getting down with it. So
for
that was
sure.
cool.
Of course, I got to shout out my man Mike Davis from Ohio. Of course, he's always in the mix. Made it third round, lost to Chip. I mean, Mike's a big dude, y'all, and he's consistently in the 890s, sometimes 880s. I mean, he runs with them. So
Yep.
shout out to Mike, and I can't forget my buddy Trevor. Trevor's got some power, and he's going to get that thing figured out. So,
Yeah, that
and
thing just spent a whole lot of time on the back tire.
yeah, yeah, he's
He'll get it figured out.
oh for sure. He's young gun. He's
Yeah.
gonna get some seat time and get her worked out. What we got up next?
Let's see.
You want to jump in some grudge?
Yeah. Here, I'll take this one. I
All
got
right.
Boosted Bulls. let's see. To be fair, all right, we showed up and we on Thursday the track was absolutely scraped bare.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Friday it did not look much better. So I think a lot of the turbo boosted bulls bike just got put back in the trailer and they did not run them this weekend. So there were more of them on the property, but only four of them decided to actually race.
Yeah,
So,
and that's just, real quick one thing
mhm,
for those that don't remember, I have a little bit of a track experience and look, there was nothing else that Tyler and the whole staff and XDA could have done. I mean, with the rain we had, and I'm only probably as the crow flies 120 miles from VMP. Um, we had rain all week up here in Virginia, and the amount of rain we had, like, and the bad part about VMP too is, the track's technically like the lowest point. So they get weepers and all kinds of stuff.
yep,
So the only way to even give the XDA event a fighting chance was to do an entire track scraping. And unfortunately, I know it canceled the Thursday test session, and they were still working on it Friday. So just wanted to throw that in there that I know some people are like, why would you scrape the track and blah, blah, blah. Well,
yep.
sorry, but if you
Water
don't
is
know,
under the rubber.
yeah, if you don't know how this works, like you have to get it off and let the track breathe and then reapply because basically, the rubber's coming up if you would have just went with it. And it
Right.
would have been a fucking disaster. It just would have been bad. So I just wanted to throw that in there. I saw some people griping. That was the only thing they could have done. And hey, for the most part, it worked out pretty well. Got the event in, and hey, it'll be better next time for sure.
Yep.
Can't do anything with Mother Nature. So shout out to Mr. Suave Malcolm Phillips getting the win on Billy Mays over
Yep.
Derek Sobich.
Yep.
Hopefully I didn't say his name wrong. Night
They were, I
Stalker.
think I know the first round was Pedal Fest.
Hmm.
I didn't see the final, but, I would assume it probably wasn't much different. But obviously, Malcolm was able to get it together, get it gathered up enough to, keep it out in front of the Night Stalker.
Yeah, yeah. So shout out to Malcolm. What we
Yep.
got next? We got nitrous bulls, right?
Yep.
Did you
These
get to witness any of
bulls.
that?
So yeah, I said or be right behind them most of the time. So, yes, final it was Big Dirty versus Arm& and Hammer. I remember that, so I watched that one. I was standing there for that one. That was a good one. Actually, I don't remember. I don't think Arm& and Hammer made the whole trip, but I know Big Dirty did. So
Yeah.
that was good. I know in the semis, I know Teasley was in the semis, and then two OGs. So Dave Norris, the other two, but it looks like Arm& and Hammer, Big Dirty in the final, and Big Dirty took it.
Yes, sir. Congrats to Tony Patton on that win.
So I think only seven of those.
Yeah, I mean, hey, like you said, I'm sure there was some people hesitant, and sometimes you got to make that call for yourself and for your team. So
Right.
it happens. We got East Coast Collision Monster Bulls up next. The heavyweights, they weren't afraid. Looks like we had about 9 entries in that.
Yep.
Um, Came down to the Canadian again and Kevin Dennis. Oh, my buddy Kevin Dennis, for all the way from Indiana. That's cool. I didn't even know Kevin was down there racing.
Yep.
Known Kevin a long time. Looks like he had full coverage in the final against Bad Burn and Danny Bernier. He went back to back for two in a row, winning
Yep.
the
Two in a
season
row.
opener and getting that second win at the second race. So he's off to
Yep.
a hot start. So y'all boys better get your stuff together, Mr. Clay
Yep.
Cum.
Ain't no doubt. Yeah, we got to get Spencer stuff turned up.
Oh, if anything, he needs to turn it down,
Yeah,
probably.
right. Oh
He
man.
doesn't, he took the down arrows off his keyboard, I think. So,
Yeah.
threw them in the
Yeah.
trash. All right, we got Tommy's Motorsports DMV Bulls.
Yeah.
Another big grudge class. Looks like we had 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13 entries in that class. And go ahead, bring them home. Who was in the finals?
All right. Let's see. Looks like, man, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't really know a whole lot of these guys, man. You might know these guys better than I do.
Yeah, I know my
Uh,
buddy Jordan Angelo on Pimp C. He was in the
yeah, Pimp
final.
C. I know Jordan Angelo. I'm not familiar with that bike.
Yeah, I'd have to see it too, to be honest. And looks like The Colonel, Jonathan Wiseman, got the win in that class for a cool
Oh,
5550 payout.
yes. So that is the new turbo Busa that DME just built.
I kind of figured that with all the
Very
DME members in
cool.
there.
Oh yeah, it's slick. It has the plenum showing through the tank like my bike's got. Pretty slick. It's a bad boy. I like it.
Heck
Really cool
yeah.
bike. So his first race out on that bike.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah,
Even
I
more
believe
impressive.
so. I believe so. I don't think I saw it at the last race. It might have been at the last race, so don't hold me to that. But so either maybe his first or second race on this bike. But either way, just getting started this season, already catching a win here in DMV Bulls. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is awesome. Good stuff there. Let's see. What are we down to? Oh, all motor
Motor
bulls.
Bulls, yeah, which there's some interesting developments happening in the
Oh,
all
yeah.
motor bulls category. Yeah, there is. And I'm surprised. Yeah, a bike that I was interested in seeing a little more of. I think Rob Bush and Jeremy Teasley, Jeremy
Hmm.
at KOG was on this bad boy motorbike. I think that Rob Bush had put together,
Okay, yeah.
and man, that thing looked like it was really, moving down through there, man. I was really hoping they were going to bring that to all motor bulls this year. But so it looks like we had 8 bulls. Also, I really like Malcolm Phillips on Bad Bitch. That's pretty cool. That's a good
Oh,
development
Malcolm's
there as
riding
well.
bad bitch.
Malcolm's
Nice.
riding Bad Bitch now. Well, Poppy's on the Shadow.
Oh, I
So
gotcha. I
if
gotcha.
I think, yeah, that bike wasn't here this weekend, or they decided either not to run it. But it looks like, yeah, in the final, Jordan Angelo on the setup versus Grover Watford on Obama. So, and it looks like Jordan Angelo took the win
That's my little
on the
homie
setup.
right there. Look,
Yeah,
you got look, man, Jordan. I'm gonna have to talk to you about that. Looks like you got
yeah.
a porn stash going on,
That's
brother.
Carpenter Racing right there.
Heck yeah. Good crew there, old T Bird and Mark Blake and all them. So good deal. Um, yeah, I love that class. I love all motor stuff.
Let's
All right,
see.
we are.
560. That's you, big
Yeah.
dog.
Yep.
Braden Davis.
I told
He's
y'all
a
we'd get
familiar
back to
name.
Braden. Yeah,
Yeah.
he you don't feel too sorry for him for his runner up in Pro Extreme because Braden, man, this kid can ride, no doubt about it. I mean, what it's 560 Pro Stock Motorcycle, Pro Extreme. I mean, he's been in it his whole life, and I'm telling y'all what. I mean, I don't really have to say it because clearly he won 560. But if you line up against Braden in 560, I mean, about the only other person I wouldn't want to line up against is our buddy Dustin. So those
Dude,
two
call
are
those
killer.
lights out. Call the lights out for the semifinal and the final. Call them out.
Yeah, so yeah, it was something else. I'm gonna go ahead and have to probably shout out all of Braden's lights because he was definitely on it. I mean, Braden started off with let me see. First round he was 034, second round Braden was 020, third round 024. Fourth round, Braden was 012. Then you get down to the semifinals. Braden on the bye run goes trip zip perfect. Just testing the tree out, getting ready for the
Yeah, he
finals.
just making sure he's reading the electricity right.
And then, of course, we had two OGs. We had Shane Proctor,
Yep.
and Mr. Dustin Lee, and that was a hell of a race. Dustin was 036 to Shane's 019 and went a 560 with a 5 and just wasn't enough. Shane with that 019 light went a 561 with a 9. So let's see, that would be, let me do some quick math, 14 there. So that was like a 002 margin of victory, I think, if I did that right. So incredible semifinals. You get to the finals, and Braden followed up his perfect light for with a 006, and that was all she wrote. Shane had to push it out the back door with an 060 bulb, and there we
Yep.
have Braden winning 560. So congrats to him on that.
Yep. Man, that's some tight racing there, man. That is some tight racing.
Man, yeah, that class is rough. That's why I don't run anymore. I can't cut
Yeah.
a light.
All right.
Um,
Top sportsman. So the fastest 32 Pro ET
that's
bad
right.
boys.
That's right. That's usually what I
Man,
try and get
I'm
in.
I'm trying to see somebody that dials in a 6 second pass. Can we not make this happen? Come on, man. We need like
I feel
Mac
like that was
McAdams
a
to like
direct
turn
push
that
to
bad
me.
boy up. Yeah, we need a six somebody to dial in a 690 something in this. Come on, let's turn this up, man.
All right.
You know?
Well, I
And
know of a guy in the
also,
past who's done it, but I would like to also do it. It's on my
also,
list.
I want to say something real quick.
Yeah, what's
So
up?
in Orlando, they do a bracket race down here once a month. Okay. And they
Hmm.
do index racing. But one of the cool things that I like about it is they do it on a pro tree.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? I feel like top sportsmen should be on a pro tree.
Well, that would be something different for sure.
Dude, it would make it fun. It'd make it free. I mean, obviously it doesn't change, but it would just be something different, you know?
Make it a 500 pro tree so that I'm good at it.
There you go. Yeah, there you go.
Like the old school crazy 8 days.
Right.
Hey, check this out. We had two Legion of Doom teammates, friends, whatever you want to call it, Mr. Robbie Honeycutt and Mac McAdams. They've been together for years, racing for years.
Yep.
Damn near as long as we've been alive, and pretty cool to see these
Yep.
OGs make it to the final. We had Robbie
Killing it.
getting the win over Mac on Mac's new turbo bike,
Yep.
one stop speed and RJ and them put together, and man, it was pretty cool. They must have had a little. I can only imagine they had a little banter going back and forth beforehand, especially with the identical 769 dial-ins. I don't feel like that was coincidental.
Right.
So Robbie got the best of Mac though. He had 035 light to Max 082 and was able to go 773 to Max 770. So Robbie got the big win there. And pretty cool to see those OGs in the final,
Yep.
especially
Very
since I
cool.
couldn't be there. Couldn't make it happen. Shout out to the Hillbilly Hustler though. Qualifying number one, 731 at 171. That's pretty cool. I think they said that was Jimmy's fastest pass ever. Quickest pass. So that's pretty cool.
Yep.
Man, when I was a young kid growing up at East Side Speedway, I remember watching Jimmy Shiflett on one of the OG Hillbilly Hustlers and thought, man, those guys are crazy racing bikes.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to MPS Pro ET.
Yep. Our boy.
Yeah, Mr. MPS himself. I
Yep.
know that was on his list of things. He wanted to win Pro ET as the new owner of MPS Racing.
Yep.
So he'd won it when Dan and Beth were the owners, but pretty cool when you get to win the class you sponsor. So shout out to Dustin.
Yep.
Mac was on a heater all weekend. Mac also made it to the finals of Pro ET. And just, another great race. Dustin was 030 to Max 060 and was just able to run a little closer to the dial in. So Dustin got Mac in that, but not a bad weekend for Mr. McAdams, collecting some money for sure between those two classes. So shout out to our boy Dustin Lee, who's, like we said, still catching up on packing orders as we speak.
Yep. Yep. No doubt. And he was 005 in the semi. It
Yeah.
looked good, man. He was killing it too, man.
Oh
Tight
yeah, for
racing all
sure.
day, dude. Tight racing all day.
Hey, Dustin will tell y'all if he was on here. I told him before the weekend started, I said, you're gonna win Pro ET in 560. And he damn near did. In fact, when he called me that night coming home, he's like, I can't believe you almost called that. I said, man, I know what I'm doing. I'm a gambler.
Yep. All
Mm,
right. So Street ET was Shane Proctor and Clay Davies in the
yep.
final. Hey, those guys are killing it in the on the lights there. 011, 023.
Yeah, and
So
I seen too. So Clay was riding one of Shane's bikes. So they
oh
were both
wow.
on some Shane Proctor Cowies. They're big
Wow,
Cowie
yeah.
guys.
Look
Been
at
doing
that.
it for a minute. Like another person who had a great weekend was Shane. Runner up in was 560, right? I think. Yeah, runner up in
Yeah.
560 and taking the Street ET win
Yep.
over his buddy Clay, who was riding Shane's bike. And if you look at that, as Sean said, 011 to 023, there was no gimmies there. That wasn't like bike owners saying, hey,
Nope. That's
they were
tight. That's
racing.
tight racing, man. That's tight
Yeah,
racing. Both
those
them
guys
boys were
don't
on it,
play.
man.
They don't play. So
Nope.
Brock's Performance Street ET, Shane Proctor, another OG. It was a big OG weekend, is what it sounded like. Real quick, we got a few left. We got the Hard Times Parts and Service Gamblers race. Shit, another name I I didn't realize another final for Mr. Robbie Honeycutt, and Brian Canoles. Brian has been out of the game for a minute, and it hasn't affected him because
Nope, he's back.
he's back in a big way. Beat Robbie in the finals of the Gamblers race. Robbie actually had him on the tree,
Yeah,
004
double
to
o
an O,
four, man.
yeah,
Yeah,
030. But Brian was able to layer down a little closer to the dial in. Shout out consolation to my buddies John Snyder, who put me out at the last race. He was in the semis. And of course, Mr. Boo Brown making it to the semifinals as
yep,
well. So our homie's doing well.
yep. And
Bring
then
us
we got
home with Bracket Bash.
bracket bash. We had looks like Carl Lacey Jr.
Hmm.
who beat Chris Silkowski. Hopefully, I'm saying that right. Looks like Chris went red in the final, went 056 red, but so
Yeah,
that
Chris.
gave Carl Lacey the easy trip down track.
Yeah, those are nice ones when you're in the final and you see your win light come on about half track, you got her in the bag. But shout
Right.
out to my boy Chris Sikowski, University of Win member, super active in the sport, always willing to help anybody out. It was a good
Yep.
weekend for Chris making it to the finals and he's going to grab him another big win here soon. So yeah, that kind of wraps up. Did we get everybody?
Yeah.
Man, we got
Yep.
a
I
lot of
think we got.
classes now.
I know, man. I know. There's a lot of bikes, man. I'll tell you, the pits were full on Thursday. It felt I didn't know what to expect because I felt like it was a really quick turnaround. I mean, we were like scrapping to even make this event, and I know a lot of people were probably in the same boat, but it I didn't know what to expect. I thought we would have a lower bike count just to how close these races were together. But man, I got there midday Thursday, and man, it was already jammed up. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah, it was of course since I didn't go, I didn't have to do any of the prep, but I did tell you I
right?
texted Dustin last week like Monday or Tuesday. I was like, "Hey, let's do a podcast this week." And before he could even respond, I said, "Never mind, I forgot you're getting ready for a race." So,
Yeah,
and very shortly later, he's like, "Dude, I can't. Just got to
yeah,
get these orders out, got to get ready for XDA." So, yeah, it was a quick turnaround, but next XDA returns to the
yep,
Rock, the new and improved Rock. So that's going to be a don't miss that one. That's on June 27th through the 29th at the revamped Rockham Dragway. I love the Rock. Always have, even when it was an old beaten and battered track. Me and Mr. Earwood, love Steve. And just always enjoyed racing down there. So I'm looking forward to getting back out there.
yep.
So
No
mark
doubt.
your
I'm
calendars now.
super excited for the Rock. We got Harleys coming to the Rock. So we've
Oh
got the
yeah.
Harley shootout. Our friend Frankie Stotts is actually going to be manning one of those bad boy turbo
Oh,
Harleys, I think
nice.
from up in Chicago. So they're coming down. That should be cool. And so I don't know what Jason's cooking up, but he's got some sort of cool Harley shootout going on that should be awesome to watch. I really love watching those Harleys, man. They're super exciting.
Yeah, yeah, that'll be cool. I'll have to look into that a little more. Maybe Mike Beeland and them are going to come out too if it's you know what is it like the full blown like baggers that are all out turbos and shit.
I believe so. Yeah, it's going to be the bad boy baggers. Yeah,
Okay.
all the turbo stuff, all the bad boy stuff. I don't know how they differ from the bikes that compete in real street. You know what I mean? Obviously, they differ because
Yeah.
or else our real street Harleys would be competing in whatever this is, or we would be getting those Harleys to compete in real street if they were similar. So I don't know if they're more exotic or they're less exotic or I don't really know, but I know that the bike that Frankie rides is a turbo bike. So I'm not sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. I don't really know enough about them, but yeah, there definitely must have some more restrictions or less exotic than the real street guys for sure.
Right.
Um, hey, we're gonna switch gears real quick,
Let's do it.
and do a little NHRA. I want to catch up on that
Yep.
real quick. Four wide nationals from back at the end of April. Man, you talking about a hell of a final four wide. I mean, we had Matt Smith, Steve Johnson, Gage Herrera, and Richard Gasson. And let me tell you what, there was one, if you've never even seen four wide. You got to see it. It's a spectacle. But
Right.
what I want to say is that for the racers, this is hands down the most challenging race any four wide event because you're trying to stage and you got a second set of stage and pre-stage bulbs that you're
Yeah.
looking for. And I mean, it's just really, I've never done it. But I've talked with plenty of them and just knowing the difficulty of four people trying to stage at the same time. But let me tell you what, 014 reaction time for Matt Smith, 020 for Steve Johnson. Gage was actually the slowest out of the four with an 027, and Richard was 016. So they weren't playing games. And of course, we got to shout out Richard for his big runner up. He actually won the
I
Tasty Too Fast
saw that.
challenge that weekend.
Yes.
So Richard was right
Super
there.
happy, man, for our
Yeah,
boy.
and just man, 004 was the margin of victory. Matt went a 673 with a six, and Richard went a 673 with a eight, and he was 2 thou behind on the start. So incredibly close race. And Matt got that win, which that led him to bring the points lead into the next event, which was
Yep.
just this past weekend as well at the Route 66 Nationals. Um, and man, it was just like the last 2 years. We had the final, and it was who you would generally expect to see, and that was Gage and Matt.
Yep.
And I don't know if you saw the video. Did you see the final video, Sean?
No, I think the only video I saw was the issue, I guess, with Richard's final
Oh,
run or
okay.
something there. I saw that one. I didn't see the Matt Smith Gage one, no.
Yeah, well, one thing for sure, and I think Matt even said this last year. He said, "Man, I got to work on the tree." Well, he's been working on it because, like I said, 014 from the race he won in Charlotte, and then going to the finals, he was 024, but Gage wasn't going to get treed again. Gage was 005.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and actually never looked back, had to win a 677 to Matt's 680. So Gage got the win there. And yeah, the
Yeah.
video of the finals was interesting because they were both pre-staged and old Gage rolled her in and staged and then rolled it
And
back
backed
out.
it up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I seen a little clip today where he was quoted as saying, it brought me back to my grudge days, racing with my
Right.
buddies, and said something to the effect that, me and Matt aren't quite at the level of blowing each other kisses on the starting line. He said, but maybe one day. So
Yeah, right.
those two they're still having fun. I like it. I think it's a great
Yeah,
rivalry
no
and
doubt, man. We need more of that stuff. It's like, just like when the NBA got neutered, when they quit letting those guys fight and they quit letting those
oh
guys,
yeah.
make that stuff exciting. It's the same thing here. One of my favorite people in all of drag racing is Stevie Fast Jackson,
Oh yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But we just need more of that in drag racing in general. So yeah, if we can get Gage to be blowing kisses to Matt, on the starting line, that's good for drag racing, you
Yep.
know?
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, and then of course I kind of forgot my homie, and he's gonna be disappointed, but I forgot him early on in the beginning of the show, but I'm not gonna forget him again, and that's the Spider-Man, Larry McBride. Top Fuel was out for their first race of the season. It was a little light field. I want to say there was like five bikes out there. So not,
Yes.
and
Yep.
I know Dave Vantine, he sold his bike and retired. So we need some more top fuel bikes, but Spider-Man, he got the win and got to hoist the first Wally. He raced Bob Malloy in the final. Doesn't look like Bob was able to make the call, I'm guessing. Doesn't show anything there, but Larry is he's still the man to beat in Top Fuel Motorcycles. So shout out to
No
Larry.
doubt,
He's
man.
a big supporter of Red Hill and everything we do, and a good close friend of me and Dustin. So shout
Yep.
out to the Spider Man. And yeah, we need some people in Top Fuel for sure. We got the best guy in waiting. We think it's Spencer. He would
Yeah, no
fit good
doubt.
on Larry's bike, and we think he's got the mental side to do it.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, and you bring up a good point there that kind of takes us into one of the topics that I wanted to, get
Yeah.
into was, you know, we don't really have, I know you guys have the University of Wind, but, man, we don't really have a great education portal for the real beginners, like people that are just getting into drag racing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for
And
sure.
I don't know if collectively, if we could come up with some sort of online something that just teaches them how to stage and just teaches them, how to do a burnout and teaches them about wheel speed in the burnout. And, if the bike's pushing you forward, well, that's because you don't have enough wheel speed, and just kind of go through the basic stuff with them. We don't really have that these days. Back in
Right.
the day, I know Chris Moore does a drag race school every now and again, and I know Ricky used to do them back in the day, and but again, one of the things that I actually hate that I missed out on was I know George Bryce used to do a pro stock motorcycle
Right.
school. I don't know if he said, I know he's actually fired up a new school today. He's doing like a performance engine school.
Yeah, he does like performance engine building and
Right.
tuning and stuff for sure. Yeah,
Right,
I've
which
seen
I'd
that.
love to take that course as well. But man, I would have loved to have gone and rode one of the Star Racing school bikes and have gone through that program before that went away. But
Yeah.
I don't think they offer that anymore. But anything like that, we don't have anything to that effect. And again, we got to open this portal to new people. Just like you said, we need somebody to fill Larry's shoes. Well, we need somebody to fill Spencer's shoes then. And then
Yeah.
we need somebody to fill
Yeah.
somebody the shoes behind that. It's all a funnel. It's all a pipeline. And we've got to work on getting this pipeline opened up. We have to. You
Yeah, no,
know.
I'm with you 100%, Sean. I mean, I think it's definitely a need. The only thing that I can think of right now is actually SDBA Sonny Vic series. I'm
Hmm.
gonna head down there with my buddy Kenny, who I'm teaching to ride. And the
Yep.
specific reason we're going to SDBA is because they have a true beginners class. It's called, well, me and Dustin sponsor. It's the University of Wind Proving Grounds, and if you're a new racer or want to get your feet wet or have somebody that's trying to get you in, and if you can make it to an SDBA event, I highly encourage y'all to do. This class is free to enter. There's no entry fee, and the buyback's free too. So you get to
Right.
make your time runs. Then you get to run first round. You're automatically coming back, and it's just a really cool class because it is true beginners. And
Right.
the way it works is that there's actually like a group of racers, more experienced racers, and it also includes Sonny, who runs the series, of course. And basically, if you start winning some races, and you can get like pushed out, okay, and
Right.
it's just discretion and opinion. But at the same level, the racers that start learning and progressing, they also want to move to a street ET and so on and so forth. And then, of
Yeah.
course,
Right.
if you win the championship, you have to move up to a class. But I'm telling you what, really excited about that, and just proud that me and Dustin could be in the position to keep that class alive and sponsor it because
Yeah, and that's great.
it's
Now,
really cool too.
my only twist would be, for the new people having someone available to almost coach them a little bit.
Right. And so
You know.
we try and go up there and give them some pointers and tips and all. And
Right.
like I said, that's a big reason why I'm trying to make some more of these SDBA events. But what's cool about it is these new racers know that they're in the true beginners class and they're with other people that are beginners. So like
Right.
they're all talking and trying to help each other, and they're very patient, because ultimately it's getting new blood into the sport. So yeah, to your point, like that's the only thing I know of, and it's really cool. I've thought about trying to do some quick not full blown schools, but maybe some quick lessons at some of the events, and would love to do one at XDA. I just know time wise, there's not a lot of
Eh,
time. So
Yeah, you're just not XDA. There's just no time for it. It
yeah,
it would have to be like you dedicated somebody for like the first one or two time runs of that new class that you guys have to just be standing up there in the water box. You know what I mean? And just kind of help people get through it. Just be a helping hand to them. I think if
yeah,
that's there, man, then that's definitely a nice way to do it.
yeah. It's
But
super cool. They
man,
race for
I
a
just
trophy, and they have fun.
yeah. I just love to see super stock jammed up with freaking 40, 50 bikes.
I know, right? That'd be sweet.
With a whole bunch of young kids, man, 17, 18 years old, freaking jammed up, And dude, I can tell you right now, that's what they're all doing down here. All these roll race kids down here are 22, 23 years old, and they're building these little stupid bikes to go out on the street. And they're not fast, they're just taking body work off of them and
Yeah.
stretching them. It's like you don't got to do all that. Leave the bike alone, lower it, put a pipe and power commander on it and go race at somewhere where if you crash, there's an ambulance waiting on you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know
And
what I
you're
mean?
wearing
Like,
gear. You're wearing
and you're
proper
wearing
gear.
gear. It's a win-win for everybody. And so I'm trying to figure out, man, how to get a funnel from these roll race guys to super stock. Because if we can get them in super stock and just get them going down that road, man, they'll grow into other things.
Well,
You
I
know,
know what was it, a year or two ago, you guys had that, was it the it was like the roll racing event. I feel like
right?
that was a good start. Are they still doing any of those down there or anything?
No, that went away, man. That went away. They just couldn't. The problem is these roll race guys don't like anything that's measured,
I
right?
gotcha.
So when we were at the track and they're trying to measure what we do, it was just a fight the whole time. And I hate to say it like that, but it's just, these guys just want to go out and race who they want to race, and it's a weird culture, man. It really is,
Yeah.
But I've managed to meet some of the people, and some of the people are cool, and I don't have any major issues, but it just seems like the whole roll race community in general, man. If we could start getting them to come to the legit side, and start
Right,
getting them
right.
to come to the track and start competing, man, we could grow this sport. We could turn it into something amazing. We got a pool of drag racers and we got a pool of roll racers. Why don't we, if we can combine them, then we probably could have a sport that could live and get real sponsorship. If we could grow this to real numbers, then we could get real sponsorship and this could bring real money and then it could grow into something great. But when we split this up into, we got a whole community of people that just want to go race on the street. It's segregating it, and then it's making it die. It's killing the sport. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm with you. I'm all about anything to get, people off the streets and safely
right?
to the track. And, it's one of them things too where, whether it's good or bad, I feel like that whole uprising of the street outlaws and stuff like that years ago, and that kind of made it cool to street race in a sense. And now they don't even race on the streets. And it was just, some of that stuff, like
Yep.
it definitely brought some excitement in drag racing more mainstream, but like also feel like some of that can give the wrong impression.
But I will tell you this, that show would have been just as popular if those guys were showing up to their local track every week and list racing
Oh
just like
yeah.
that. It would
Yeah.
have been just as popular because there's just not no, nobody is covering the sport in that aspect,
Yeah.
right?
It's
That's
like
why we are doing what we're doing. You know what I mean? I'm trying to get us there. But dude, if you had somebody coming around and filming our races just like that, right?
oh yeah.
It would be freaking unbelievable too. We could build a
Well,
following just like that,
we've always
you
said
know?
we would be instantly famous if we actually recorded all of our track experiences, including the late
Oh,
night
there's
shenanigans.
no doubt, man. I think if you just tagged the camera on that dude Richie, right, and just hung it on his shirt and just
Uh,
follow Richie around, dude, we would
who
all be famous.
who was it?
That guy Richie that
Oh,
freaking hangs out
Andrew
rides that.
Ritchie.
Yeah, dude. That
Shout
guy,
out to
man.
Richie.
Shout out Richie, dude. That guy makes me laugh
Uh,
harder than anybody else.
I thought I was gonna die at MIR for the first race. Yeah, he had me rolling for sure. Man, you know
Dude,
what that made me think of though? Is
what?
like the old school Tim Haley videos. I have that intro music playing in my head right now, the where he
Yeah.
would do all the grudge videos and stuff. Like those are cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
and the Midnight Madness back when Royce Miller used to ride his Harley down the track, and
Oh
it was
yeah,
it
yeah,
was
yeah.
playing music. Oh, dude, it was this big old freaking crazy Harley with lights and stereo and all
That's
this
old
crazy
school,
shit.
yeah.
Oh, and dude, he'd run it down the track and turn it around and come back. It was like this midnight mayhem, man.
Yeah,
You
for
know,
sure.
dude, it's just not like that anymore. We're going to bed at 11 now. What's up? I don't. I
I don't
don't
know why.
understand it.
Yeah, don't be
Why?
lying to everybody. We
Yeah.
ain't, I couldn't tell you the last time we
No,
went
no,
to
no,
bed
no,
at
no,
11.
no. I'm not saying we're going to bed at 11. I'm saying XDA is going to bed at 11.
Yeah,
I don't understand. They didn't used to do that.
I couldn't tell you the last
Hopefully at
time
the
I went to
Rock
bed
we'll be
before.
able to. No, yeah, no, no, no. But hopefully at the Rock, they'll let us run late. We can get back into some of our late night, grudge racing and late night shenanigans and shit.
I feel like
You
that's where
know,
it all started. So
yeah,
yeah.
I feel like we're due a late night, scooter race in the pits. We're due some we're due some stuff.
Some
That's for sure.
shenanigans for sure.
But
All
yeah,
right. Well, what else you got tonight? We done gave the listeners a solid hour, some recaps, some
yeah,
banter here and there. Anything else you wanted to shout out or touch on y'all working on?
yeah. Yeah, I probably get a call on this a week, so I figured I'd run it by you and see your thoughts on it.
Uh-oh. On air. Let's go
Yeah,
for it.
on air, you know what I mean? This is I'm in the motorcycle business now. I work at a motorcycle performance shop and so I get to communicate with people about their motorcycle performance needs every week, right?
Right, right.
About once a week I get a call on this and I'll tell you my answer to it. But what do you tell somebody that calls up that says they want to turbo their 600?
Uh, Sell their bike and buy a
Buy a
Busa.
1000 or buy a Busa? Yeah,
That's what
that's
I would
exactly
tell.
what I tell them too. But dude, that's what I'm saying. These roll race guys, man, I'm telling you, you don't understand.
No, I've been in
It's
the
every
forums.
week I get a call about, man, can you guys turbo my R6? I'm like, dude, the amount of money that you would spend, you could probably buy two R1s, and he's like, no, but man, I want to be different, man. You know what I mean? It's like, dude, you're
Do you
killing me
want
with
to
this
win?
stuff.
Do you want
Yeah,
to win? That's like me. I'm looking at these 214s in the garage that need work done, and I hate working on them. I
yeah.
tell anybody, I'm like, man, a Boost is so easy to work on compared to a Cowie. I'm
Yeah.
not a fan.
Well, they each have their own issues. I've done turbos on both of them now. I don't to be fair, I keep blowing the plenums off the Suzukis. That's my biggest problem. I don't have that problem with the Cowies.
Well, right, yeah, clearly because of the frame, but it
Right.
also takes an hour to change the spark plugs on a ZX14.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you pretty much got to drop the motor down. Yeah.
Almost, yeah, almost do. But yeah, no, yeah, no, that's funny. Turbo my 600.
No, it's
Yeah.
every week, Dad. It's like once a week, man. We get somebody that calls up that wants to turbo their 600, and it's like, man, I can't imagine. It's like this weird phenomenon. So
Oh shit. All right.
we'll
Well,
see.
I think on that note, we're gonna call it a night. But
Let's
yeah,
do it.
we're probably like I said, Sean's got the lit the fire, so try and get him and Eric on here and get some more content going for y'all when my homie Dustin can't make it. So but we're
Yep.
gonna get Dustin back out. I know he even mentioned to me this afternoon, like, hey, maybe next week we can jump on one. So y'all be on the lookout. We haven't died, we haven't forgotten. We know y'all enjoy these podcasts and help you through the work day or the trip to the track. So we're gonna get them fired up. Like I said, make sure you go follow Proven Power Cycles on Facebook, YouTube, all the channels. Like their stuff up. Follow my boys, and yeah. Last but not least, I got to shout out the sponsors again. Larry McBride. Appreciate his support. We got Worldwide Bearings, Platinum General Services, Monster Race Products, BST Wheels, Brock's Performance, MTC Engineering, Schnitz Racing, DME Racing, Hard Times Parts and Service, MPS, Penske Racing Shocks, Max ECU, BMF Motorsports, University of Wynn, and I got to thank my boy Sean and Proven Power Cycles, getting us
Yep.
another podcast. Because, like I said, y'all don't want me on here looking at the screen by myself because I'll just Ricky Bobby and I won't know what to do with my hands. So,
Yeah, and we're gonna bring some of this Florida street bike nonsense up here with you. Let's
heck yeah.
we'll figure it out. But hey, I do gotta say, man, shout out Dustin, man, for always having the parts that we need at the track, for always having our back, dude. That dude always bails us out, man. And then
Yeah.
also shout out to Steve Nichols, Max ECU, man. That guy does nothing but run around the track and help people. And man, that dude is good as gold, man. So those guys help us out, man,
Yeah,
tremendously. So
for sure. And on that note, like you said, make sure, you're supporting the companies that not only support the podcast, but of course the sport. When you see those
yep,
names on classes, on events or whatever, like, excuse me, that's not free. It costs money and some of it gets a little expensive. So, support those companies. They're supporting our sport and our hobby, and that's where it all goes to. So, all right, on that note, we'll see y'all next time, and we
yep.
appreciate y'all tuning in. See y'all.
See you.